The Wraith is extremely underrated and a movie that doesn't seem to be talked about as much as other 80s movies, despite having some very recognizable names attached to it such as Charlie Sheen, Sherilyn Fenn, and Randy Quaid. It has a great story with an awesome mix of sci-fi, very light horror, and Fast and Furious type racing, as well as one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a movie. The music here is amazing and almost every scene has a fitting song that harmonizes perfectly with what's going on. It's a movie that seems to have been forgotten but definitely deserves to be talked about and remembered, as it not only is full of 80s atmosphere and tropes like you'd expect and want to see from a movie like this, but also has a great and fun story.
An evil force took his life. An unearthly power has brought him back. He is a phantom. A wraith, a cosmic spirit given another chance.
I honestly didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did because at first glance it just seems like a bad B movie that was probably forgotten due to not having anything noteworthy or interesting that would stand out. The Wraith has a lot of cool stuff that is really underrated in my opinion, and watching the movie you feel like it had massive potential in becoming a franchise or at least get a sequel, which sadly didn't happen. I wouldn't even call this a pure B movie as it does have a somewhat bigger budget, even though it clearly didn't reach A levels. The story here is actually pretty good and fun to watch. It's nothing groundbreaking or mind-blowing, but it's full of 80s charm and atmosphere.
Opens Friday, November 21st at a theater near you.
Eventual Ghost came back in one of the most badass cars to race and haunt his killers, taking them out one by one, in a pretty dark and unusual way. The mystery here is done really well, even though it becomes clear who the ghost actually is pretty fast, but to be fair, I don't think the movie itself even tried to hide the Wraith's identity. It seems to me like they wanted the audience to know who's driving the car almost from the start, but even without the movie telling us who it is, there's some visual clues that should make things pretty obvious.
Do that again.
Jake.
You know who I am.
Despite that, the mystery is fun and makes you wonder what's going to happen, and it also makes you care about the characters. The character development here is actually very basic and honestly very 80s. As in, the cool guy on the bike gets the girl, you've got some boobs, awesome 80s rock and new wave music, and no explanation at all as to how things work. Characters fall in love after knowing each other for a few days at best, and the movie does a poor job explaining a lot of the dynamics, be it between characters or even the lore of the sci-fi elements that take place here. But despite that, I still found myself enjoying all of it and liking the characters, even the villains.
And when you love someone as much as I love you, after a while you feel nothing. And when you feel nothing, you can do anything.
I think the main reason for that is the charisma and likability of the main actors such as Charlie Sheen and Sherilyn Fenn. They look great, have mystery around them, are charismatic, and have great screen chemistry together. There are also the interesting sci-fi and light horror elements that form the story of this movie. Now, the horror here is very light. At times it actually feels like the movie wanted to go into a darker or more bloody direction, but either had the studio refused them or they realized that the movie is mostly aimed at teens and young adults and that the story isn't supposed to be within the horror genre.
guy, but... Hey!
Because there definitely is a lot of potential for the Wraith to be an iconic horror or horror action character. He looks cool and mysterious, but also raises a lot of questions as to his existence and the dynamics between him and his car. The movie seems to imply that the Wraith and the car have a sort of symbiotic relationship where they are almost one and the same, but at the same time separate entities. He can exist outside of his car, but also has the powers to transform into it when he wants to. It's very confusing, and the movie unfortunately does a bad job in explaining how all of this works. Or rather, it doesn't explain this at all. Where did he come from? How can he exist? Is there some sort of higher power? None of these questions get answered. But then again, I don't think that the movie actually had to answer any of these questions. In a way, the mystery that is here feels even bigger due to the fact that you know almost nothing as the viewer, and it makes you basically root for a vengeful spirit out for blood. You simply assume that he's a good guy because he's killing a bunch of assholes that deserve it.
That's ugly, God.
Kid ought to be dog meat.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Loomis. This kid smashed down a canyon through fire and busting glass.
Must have been 1,000 degrees in that car.
Uh-huh, at least.
And that's one of the things that are so awesome about this movie. The Wraith is never in any real danger. His enemies have no idea who he is and how to fight him, and slowly start panicking and getting more and more hysterical as they get decimated by the spirit, who just plays around with them throughout the whole movie. That might sound boring, but honestly it's not, and to me it felt refreshing, especially since the story holds up pretty well. It's nice to watch something where the main character takes everyone out without even breaking a sweat or making a big deal about it. He came, he killed, and he left with a hot girl on his side. That's pure 80s cheese, and that's exactly why I like this movie and what makes it so great in my opinion.
Look, I got one more thing to do.
Don't leave me again.
Don't worry, I'll be back. It's a short trip. Back late.
It's self-aware about the fact that it's not trying to tell a complex or deep story, it just wants to have some fun and take you for a ride. What's also interesting is how, at times, it almost feels like a lighter version of Mad Max or something from the Mad Max universe.
There goes the torque! Here's the torque we carry! Let's do it. Think we can? Ain't no match for the Cuda boy. Yeah? What do you say we run this little bastard down and make his teeth bleed, huh?
What about the girl, Greg? We can't
Just grab the shotgun, Mama Luca. The shotgun! I don't know nothing about no shotgun! Just grab the goddamn gun, man!
Some of the characters feel like they fit perfectly into a Mad Max movie, and then you've got the interesting character design of the Wraith, his car, and the whole movie being about cars and deadly races.
Get him up!
The soundtrack of The Wraith is honestly one of the best I've heard in the movie and epic as hell. It adds to the atmosphere, be it the mystery, the cheesy 80s teenage drama and young love, or the over-the-top racing scenes. I mean, it has names such as Ozzy Osbourne, Billy Rebel, Motley Crue, and many more, and these songs are playing almost non-stop in most scenes, which is not only awesome to watch, but also a wild ride for the ears. The music here really does set a lot of the scenes and is often perfectly timed and placed. In fact, I'd say that part of the appeal of The Wraith is the soundtrack and just how well it harmonizes with what's going on screen. It's a great mix between heavy metal, pop, and new wave, and it makes all of these scenes seem even more fun than they already are. It's honestly surprising to me that this movie isn't brought up or remembered more often, especially since it has gathered a cult following over the years. There's some 80s movies that are way worse than this that get talked about all the time. The Wraith is definitely extremely underrated and a fun ride if you just want to have a good time and enjoy some classic 80s vibes.